will go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:10. As soon as I get these to line up to some extent. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from March 16th, 2016.
So moved.
So move.
Is there,
Seconded.
is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of March 16, 2016, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Actually.
We don't want to talk about solid waste business before we get through.
Okay, that, we did get the, I was going to add that.
Oh, okay.
We
No,
got- we
fine.
got- We got a letter from the district. We'll
Yeah,
do
okay.
under correspondence, does that work?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay,
We're gonna go back one step here and amend that motion to the minutes of March 22nd instead. March 16th was a Wednesday, I don't know how that got in there, but it's the 22nd.
okay, well,
So I'll amend the motion accordingly.
please. I didn't do the
Yeah,
agenda.
no, that's me. I did the agenda. I did the agenda.
Just
and
on
pick up
we're
on
straight
that.
about
Kurt's here.
who messed up.
Yep.
All right, I need to add, under correspondence, I need to add Board of Health, a letter from Walter Meyer, a memo from Anita Bean, a letter from Windham Solid Waste, and then under other business, I need to add loan equipment financing, Bartlett Tree, and Eagle Creek.
Here goes 8 o'clock.
Yep, that's what happens when you don't meet for 45 days, however long. Anyway, others, anything else? Okay, moving on then. Reports, highway.
Hey, how are you? Good. How are you? Good, thanks. Street sweeping's on the agenda. I told Craig about that. I called around. DBM is still the same price as last year and the year before, so we're gonna use DBM sweeping. They're scheduled for May 9th. We have trouble with beavers up on East Hill, right below Tarbell.
Feed them to the bear.
You got a bear problem too?
Yeah, they're gonna go talk about bears tomorrow, so can
Okay.
you take care of all of it, say that?
No, I can't.
Oh, darn.
direct the bear. We had a beaver deceiver up there that figured out how to defeat the beaver deceiver last year.
Smart
It
people.
wasn't deceived by the people.
So we'll try a different one next, after we get rid of the beavers this summer, once water goes down. We had a trapper last time screwed over. Otto said he would trap them. They're on his property, and our right of way and his property. But for the beavers in the right of way, he wants to charge the same what Schoonover charges for trapping those beavers. In the right of way.
What's that?
$100 a beaver.
A beaver?
That's what
They're
Rick.
expensive, isn't it?
It is expensive, but you figure out our time going up there, ramming a pole through there, cutting trees down and run through there. So it is expensive. Last ones we did were up on top of Grafton Road, you know where that was by Acton Hill. That was a few years ago and it's worked out well up there. I'm sure they'll be back eventually sometime, but it'd be good to take care of these now. I think the pups were kicked out and, you know, they're just plugging up the gullet. Want to give you okay for that, that would be handy. I'm sure you can get them right away because they've been active a lot lately. We did the brakes on a Freightliner today. You're gonna get that for a bill, you know, the parts for that. I did call around. Freightliner had the parts for it. I got prices on magnesium chloride. I called for prices. The only one who ever sent me anything was Innovated. I'm waiting for Allstate for prices per gallon for the chloride, magnesium chloride. Yeah, because we're going to need some. So as soon as the cheapest price comes in, I'll tie that one in for the season. And I have 2 grants here. Remember we talked about the grants, the Better Back Roads grants. They'll pay. We're going to do it in kind for our services, you know, for the truck and the equipment and stuff like that. like we did before. But I gotta get these sent in. I have these two here to be signed. And tomorrow I'll scan them and send them in. And I called BB Chain several different times, where we talked about that. And the salesman and I have not got together yet to talk for, I left them.
Because those bills are in this group
Yep.
again.
I told him that, I told him on his answering machine that,
Okay.
not in person.
Call them up and tell them you wanna order like 50 sets of change, so call you back.
You're probably right. They don't want to talk to you about something that's wrong. They want to talk about something different. Yeah. But, that's about all I have on my report. We've been grading roads, doing culverts since our last meeting. Almost every road in the town's been scraped. We've put in 4 new culverts. We have more to put in from the winter time and stuff, so.
Okay, I've got a couple of questions. First of all, did you ever connect with Atlantic Brew and the signs on the road signs?
Yes. Yeah.
We still have not received any kind of a,
New bill from them.
again, we're still carrying that one. This is going
Yeah.
on 3 months now.
Yeah.
Actually, more than that.
December 10th.
December.
I talked to, matter of fact, I talked to Jack Davis today because he sent us a new Burpee sign, and it was still spelled Burpee sign.
Well, because it's a burpee sign.
And he wrote it down. It was right in the shop when we went over all the signs. He wrote it down, and it still came back Burpee sign because it was in the mail the other day. And
How about the
I saw
sod?
it arrived, I figured it must be correct.
I did too till I opened it up at the town garage.
How about the Sod Sally sign that looks a little funky with the capital Y on the end of it?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Capital Y?
In front of Davis's old house. It-
It's all dusty.
Yeah,
Well, I just-
the
you look
Y
at
is
it,
capital.
It's capital A-L-L-E,
Y?
capital Y.
Oh, I did not realize.
I
You
noticed.
guys must be paying attention pretty good when you're putting it
On
on.
the signs. I knew Burpee Lane was probably right, but I had no other alternative.
And then on your grants, the question I have for that,
Yes.
are those reliant on the bridge standards network inventory?
Yes.
Okay, we're still supposed to sign that tonight, it hasn't been signed yet. Is that done?
Yes, right here.
Okay, so no, not the grant, the inventory. The network inventory,
The network inventory.
yeah. I've got a certification of compliance for town road and bridge standards network inventory.
Yes.
To sign tonight, have we completed that?
Hold on, let me see.
Yeah, the
This-
sign that they do have a current network inventory in place, that's what you were
Yes.
working on.
This is what she said, Megan Funk, who does the grants, said sign this because it's gonna be done shortly.
Okay, but is that, do they go together, is my
Yes,
question?
yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
Well, they're not going to the same person, that's going to Megan Bunk and this is going to Alan.
But one can't go without, well, one can go, but the other
If
one.
we don't sign this, don't sign that, because she told me to sign this to sign that.
Okay, so if one goes, they all have to go, it's about what I want, so, okay.
Yeah.
All right, is there anything else?
What
I
about
just, I
that,
had 2 questions, well, I'm sorry.
what
go ahead.
about that, stuff for the government bridge over there? You heard any more from the engineers or anything on it?
On the covered bridge?
State park. I'm not state park, it's a dam road.
Which,
Bridge 42?
No. The one that, the big box culvert we had to put in across the Townshend Dam.
have I heard any more on that? No, from FEMA?
No, I thought we were supposed to have some information from the engineers.
No, we had to have a
Oh, get a
survey.
survey done.
Survey done.
Have they got that done?
That is
If they're
being,
doing it.
they're doing it now, and we have to ratify the fact that we had to have a contract in place by the 31st of March. So we have to go back now and say, yes, it's okay to pay for the survey, but the survey's being done, and the Army has been notified.
That's a big thing, and I wanna make sure that.
No, I
Check later.
heard, and I took care of that right away.
Yeah, no, I know you said you'd call them, but
Yeah, and I
I
had.
didn't know what
Beck-
they got around doing.
And I had Beck get in touch with you guys about that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's all in the works, we just have to go back and actually ratify the actions.
Okay.
Since
We,
haven't had any.
and we ended up getting bids on the survey work. I ended up negotiating as a work contractor, getting a contract from S.V.E. out of Brattleboro to do the survey. Kathy signed the contract. It's been 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I don't know the date on it. It needs to be ratified, but there hasn't been a quorum of the board to ratify the contract. But they should have gotten the work done or be doing it now. I also talked to the Army Corps of Engineers and said it was in process. Pam Bradstreet at the Real Estate Division, and they're fine. It needed to be done by the 31st, but they're fine if it's getting done now.
This long something's happening.
Oh, yeah, it's, we have to be in compliance. The contract is there. Peter Bowmig should be out doing that work. Well, he should have done it last week in the better weather. That's when he was planning to do it, so. And most of the work is in the house. It's gotta be drawn up and all that, but he'll do the filing with the Army Corps. It's not a cheap contract, but it should be getting done pretty quick.
No, somebody else had something, was it? Do you have something else?
Very good.
I was just gonna ask on BDM, you said it was the same price. Do you know what the price on BDM is?
It's 125 an hour.
125 an hour? Okay. And you brought up the beaver deceivers weren't working, and Schoonow would do the trapping. Otto offered to do the trapping for the same price as Schoonow, or whatever his name is. Schoonow, all right. Should the board decide to hire the trapper or hire Otto? I mean, it's just kind of hanging out there. Who's going to get used, if anybody?
Well, that's what I mean.
Well, I know. You brought it up, and I think the board should make a decision as to either hire Otto Tarbell or
The
hire
only
the
thing is,
licensed trapper.
if
to
Otto
do it.
traps it, which I know he's capable of doing, he can go out of his right of way because there's a dam over. There's 2 dams out of the right of way now, and if you break the dam down, that's where you go to get the beaver because they come in to fix the dam, the hole in the dam and stuff. Schoonover will not go out of the town right of ways because unless he gets permission from the landowner. And I don't know.
So it is actually on Otto's property then?
No, well, it's a culvert and there's a dam just past there that fills up, and then it fills up our culvert and it goes across the.
Where's the dam, that where that stone wall is? On that south side?
On the south side, it's past that now.
The
water.
They're going across the little
Yeah, but that.
low spot there now.
Yeah, on the stone wall.
Yeah,
west.
that's way
It's
past.
out of the right of way.
So did somebody want to make a motion?
I'd make a motion to hire Otto to trap the beavers on West Hill,
At a rate?
East Hill, that too.
At a rate of?
Yeah, it should have a do not exceed or something. I mean,
How many
How many
members do you
beavers?
have? Or is it just per? At a rate of, what was it, $100 a beaver? Is that what we want to do?
Sure. In the town right now.
Okay, is that seconded?
I think
But that's just for the beavers out of that dam, that's not for every beaver
Well,
that
that's why
they
you
brings in.
well, it's not going to be in the town right
Is that a
away.
coyote?
It's not going to be in the town right away. It'll be on the property, so he can trap 7, 8, or 9, or whatever. I mean, you should put a,
There's
It
only
should be
so
going
many
to-
that are gonna be in the spot.
probably.
What do you mean probably? There's a population on everything, it's not just,
I'm gonna say they multiply like rats.
Well, essentially, I don't know. 4, 6, I don't know what's in it. I have no idea.
we'll know better in a couple weeks.
We'll know better.
So do you want to leave it at just $100 per?
I'd cap it to some point. All of a sudden, we got like 35 beavers rolling in here.
Well,
Then we're gonna make a coat or something.
Yeah. Slippers.
Now, do you want the pelts, Kathy? Is that putting it in Kathy wants?
No. No.
Can you make slippers out of them?
Yeah.
there's a barbecue coming up for Green Up Day.
How about those Saturday country dances?
There you go. So you want to just leave it at $100 per animal
Sure.
Sure.
and not cap it? All right.
I'll have them keep in touch with me.
Is there any other
Do we
discussion?
wanna see proof of the beaver?
No.
Really?
Well, not particularly. I don't want to drag them in here and put them on the table at the next meeting.
Why not?
I don't want to go on camera to say you're going to get a blank, you're going to get a bill.
Yeah, I don't. Somebody needs to verify, but I don't really
You don't
want to
want
have them here.
You don't want the skins down
I-
there to make,
Tail. That was a tail or a claw or something.
Tails are
People,
And there's a barbecue in Green.
Are we done? Okay,
We got one more thing.
okay.
Why you built that, Town Highway 4 up on the end of the dam? It's raising hell with that blacktop, cause the water sits right in there out on the end of the blacktop where they just got through fixing it from Irene.
Yeah,
We built the road up 6 or 8 inches higher than the blacktop.
I just,
At the intersection of West Hill and,
Well, the Town Highway 4, which is State Forest Road and West Hill and all that, the gravel's so much higher, the water sits right in there and it's breaking the end of that blacktop right up.
is that part of this beaver discussion?
pardon?
Is that where the beavers are?
No.
Okay, well, can we go, let's go ahead and take care of the beavers.
Thought we had taken care of it.
No, we haven't voted on the beavers yet.
I'll look at that tomorrow.
Yeah, would you?
All right, so all those in favor of authorizing Auto Trail Rail to trap the beavers on, where is it, East or West Hill?
East Hill.
East Hill, at a cost of $100 per animal to be
Yeah.
verified by someone. I don't care who.
I will.
Okay. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you're opposed. So that would, abstentions, there are no abstentions, so I'll vote in the affirmative, so we will have Otto take care of the beavers. All right, now, did you get your answer to what you wanted to? Okay. I was just confused.
But
I'm sorry.
$100 a meal is a lot.
I don't disagree.
That's all right, if we vote for it.
What do you
Okay,
have to say?
Huh?
Do you have something to say?
No, I'm just picture in my head, that's all.
is there anything else on that piece? Anything else for the highway?
Just please sign this and give it to me.
Wait a second, Bob has a question or something?
The bed of back roads, is that for Simpson Brook bank stabilization again?
That, no,
Okay.
that is, we discussed that, remember?
Yeah, the better back roads is doing.
This is actually called Better Roads now.
Okay, and
This is for stormwater runoff and water quality for the rivers and tributaries and turbidity control and stuff like that.
and what's it gonna involve? What do we intend on doing?
Right now,
Yeah,
right now it's for the erosion, culvert, bridge and infrastructure inventory and erosion inventory on the roads, on the surface themselves.
so it's,
And the other grant, I got 2 grants here. The other one's for the clay slide. That's on Plum Hill Road.
because there's another slide on Westbrook, Harbor Road.
That's out of our right of way. I know what you're talking about.
It's out of the right of way.
Yeah. And we talked about that at the meetings. And they're not gonna address things like that right now.
It's gonna be that one, and you're
Okay.
gonna want a
They
big.
only have it about $1 million, and all the towns that say about it probably hit it.
Okay. I'm not sure what you guys were talking about. I hope Cameron got the majority of it, but, did
It's
you get
not
your?
Simpson Brook.
Did you get your answer to what it was? Okay, before you go, Kurt, I'd like you to,
Go stand behind Kathy, watch a videotape.
I'd like you to see, where's is the edited B?
No, you're on, that's your only video there.
This is a video that was captured
Oh, and the
with the
town
sound gun. Here's a truck coming in, pulling into the shed.
This is a condenser.
This is
so
second truck coming in.
You're gonna see it
pulling
go
in.
right back out again. But there's a 10-minute lapse in between going in and coming back out.
One's a GMC and one is a Dodge.
Yeah.
They go in, they fill, they back into the shed.
These are the ones you're telling me.
And they came, one of the GMC, I think it was, came back an hour later and filled up again, but we erased the tape and changing the hard drive on
There
the
goes the second truck in.
video. Anyway, can't replay numbers.
It was a Sunday, and they're gonna come back out. We do have stills here of the trucks as they came into camera range, and you can see that the beds of the trucks are completely full of sand. I mean, there's no doubt that they're completely full of sand. There's a still on the,
Can you get the,
no, you can't look at it. They've done it. My grandson, Liam Hagee, put these together he kind of condensed it for us so that we could actually see what was going on.
In real time, yeah.
I do have a copy, Rich, which will make it easier for you
He's got it.
to deal with this. It's one of the reasons why we had talked about having to shut those gates.
Yeah, we are.
And I know you haven't
They
shut
can
your
get a
gates.
lock on it.
No, I don't have a lock on it.
Yeah, they ought to get a lock because another thing to this solid waste business, the people coming in and dumping it,
And
3 through 7 are gonna be banned from
here
the
they come again.
containers.
It's gonna loop.
Yeah, it goes in a loop and then I think it's a spill.
Otherwise, either that or your our assessments.
You can bring up the individual, Kathy, before you close, you can bring up the individual pictures on the right.
So only when the town garage is open, or 6 to 2:30, that's when they're only gonna be able to.
Should be the only time of that when the compact is open.
Really, so that's what your assessment goes by now.
Yeah, but we're having trouble down there, we get too much contamination, and we're gonna change your assessment to the towns and stuff. And not all the animal, you ought to talk to him and make sure he checks on stuff, because if you don't, we're gonna have to do something different.
That's a different, that's,
And I
yeah,
feel
this is
if Arnold doesn't wanna do what we're
No,
asking
no,
him
no,
to
no,
do.
no, 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 we're not doing that piece. What we need to focus on right now in this particular case is the fact that we have, number one, people stealing resources, and number two, from the dump side of it, or the compactor side of it, they're putting appliances that the town can't take, like televisions and couches, lawnmowers, other things like that. We need to make everybody aware that there is security out there at the town garage. There are cameras. And if we can identify and we can figure out who these people are that are taking resources and or illegally dumping, we will be going after them. So yes, the gates need to be shut when there's nobody there.
Need to be some kind of lock on it.
Well,
I
I
don't,
was kind of holding off on the lot to see how it goes, you know.
But it used to be that you could trust everybody, and I know it's only occasional, and it's not that bad, and I see purple bags stacked up, you know what, they prepaid for the bags, so I don't really care on
Even
that.
when the gates are shut, they're still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, no, well, I'm saying, when the gates are open, I understand somebody dropping it off on their way to work, it's a purple bag, they paid for the bag, it's sitting there, I don't have to throw it in. I don't really care a lot about that, but I do care when I drive by, see a TV set sitting next to the glass pile. Or when I see boxes of stuff sitting out there that somebody drops off a tire or something, you know, that, it just costs everybody more. We do have a surveillance system, we're now closing the gate because you can't trust people after
I've
hours.
been on a surveillance system since day
Oh.
one, sir.
Huh?
and that's the point. We're going to do some cleanup of the system and repositioning
Lenses
of
need to
the
be cleaned, we
cameras.
need to enhance the quality so we can read license plate numbers better and so on and so forth, but.
But people do need to be aware that we are watching.
Yeah, there's signs up too.
I understand
I know
that.
that, but still, they need to be aware, they'll see it right there.
But we're
We are
aware,
watching.
we're aware that there were 3 full pickup loads full of sand that.
I can't,
At a minimum.
I have no idea who they are either. Well, anyways, make sure that you just get back to me. tomorrow.
to me and I will.
I didn't recognize them either.
No, they could be from out of town.
Give you your clip back.
That could be.
Put that over by the clipboard.
All right,
Anything else, Chris? Okay, then, thank you.
all right, thank you. Have a good night.
You
Good
too.
night.
Good night.
Bob, did you have something specific?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Did you want to address this?
I just came to, since the whole board was here, if they had any questions.
Still missing one.
What's that?
We're still missing
one.
Yeah.
There's one still on the beach.
Mr. Lake actually came to us at the last meeting and put in his notice of interest in the EMD position, which I don't know if you're aware that that plan needs to go out probably yesterday or be filed yesterday. But I told him at that point in time that I'd bring his name forward to the board in consideration of filling that position. So, is there anybody have any questions of him? Okay. When you were here,
Rob was here.
Rob was here, so Herb, did you have any questions for Mr. Lake about filling the emergency management position?
No, I just saw them get do it with emergency management, not a lot of other stuff like happened here a couple, 3 years ago.
Well,
That's,
at
that's
this-
the big thing that bothered the heck out of me, that
At this point in time, I think what we need to do is, first of all, our plan needs to be filed for the year, because we haven't done that
Right.
yet. And updated, because it's going to have some changes, there's some state mandated changes that need to be dealt with. So I would entertain a motion, unless you've changed your mind, okay. I would entertain a motion to appoint Sherwood Lake as the Emergency Management Director for Townsend for this coming year.
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor of appointing Mr. Lake, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Thank
So, it's now yours.
Congratulations.
And Kyle was serving in that role previously, so he would be able to, the book resides in Craig's office, or in that office, that a lot of people have access to. But you said you were somewhat familiar with the changes that the state was, or you?
Well, I've been reading, ever since I decided to put in for this, I've been reading the different things, and God, there is a volume of it. Looking at it, I have not seen a completed plan
Okay.
yet,
Well,
so.
I believe it's in residence in that back room.
Someone maybe.
I thought Kyle took it home.
LEOP.
Huh? Yeah.
I have the digital copy on my computer.
Oh,
Yeah, that would be great.
I'll email it to you so then you don't have to reinvent it.
Okay. Sounds good.
And I have a template for the whole thing that keeps getting sent to me from Windham Regional, Melissa Sabedo down there, with a list of the changes and the daycare portion, the things that have to be incorporated into that animal care portion. But that's, I think, in having reviewed that, I think that's fairly straightforward to add in. It's a couple pages each at the most. But if he has a digital copy, I no longer do. So that will make life a lot easier to update. You got Sherwood's number?
As long as I can get his email before the end of this meeting.
They can give that to you.
Okay. So, yeah, if you, when you get to the point where you need information filling in the blanks, if you could just let either Craig or myself know, we'll help you with the pertinent town officials that need to be notified as well.
Give me a call tomorrow or the next day, whenever, and we'll just exchange information. We'll get you on the big list and make sure you've got everybody's numbers here. Make sure that you get from Kyle. I've got your email address, but if you want to give it to Kyle, it'll probably be
It was
easier.
on that, it was on his paper. I
It's
believe.
actually, yeah, it is. It's on the resume that he gave to for us, sir.
I'm pretty sure it is. It's right. Needless to say, I find tax stuff. There it is,
It's on the bottom.
right there. Okay. Okay. Then, moving on, that takes care of the members of the public. What?
Oh, that's congratulating him.
Oh, okay.
Bob, nothing?
Bob said he didn't, I asked him.
Rick, nothing? Okay.
Rick's just causing trouble.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
then, moving into the street sweeping, as Kurt mentioned, he has called around and gotten some price quotes and availability times on the street sweeping. His recommendation is that we hire, was it
BDM.
BDM, street sweeping for $125 an hour to do the roadsides in Townsend, the 10 miles of road, or 10.6 miles of road, or whatever it is. So I would entertain a motion as to such.
So moved.
Okay.
Is there any discussion about that?
Next is 10, 12 miles of blacktop, right?
Yeah, that's just the blacktop, yeah.
Yeah, about 12 miles of total. Figuring 55, which is done with the farm, and
It's a little over a full day. It's a full day.
I'm gonna say it's about 12 and a half, somewhere in there.
And we have, class two paved roads, we have, I think, 10.2 on the list, or 10.6 on the
It's
list.
10 miles,
But there's extra pieces.
but it's 10 miles with 1 and 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So it's gonna run 12, 13 miles somewhere in there.
But it's about a day, so I could look up an old bill. It's a full day. It's over $1,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it comes to about $1,100 if I remember. Is there any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving contracting with BDM's street sweeping to do the Townsend Road
Kyle made
sides.
the motion?
I think so, and then it was seconded by Urban or
Yeah.
Rob, I think both of them.
That's it.
Or
Okay. All those in favor of approving the motion as stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. So will you let Kurt know, because I believe he already has
Done.
a time
scheduled
available.
for the ninth.
Scheduled for tonight?
No, it's scheduled for the ninth
Oh,
of May.
okay. Just a note on the Vermont State Police, for anybody who wants to take a look at it, we do get reports as to kind of an overview of what's been going on for
We
our
did.
money.
We did on that one, yeah. We asked for that.
And it's kind of some interesting reading for those of you who would like to take a look at it. The town clerk, you all should have had in your boxes a list of counter monies that were brought in over the, I guess it would be a month at this point in time. And treasurer,
You have $800,655.11.
11 cents.
655, 11. You get
Okay.
11 cents.
weren't there some, wasn't there some money moving?
I moved all I was told to move. I don't know if you got any more now.
There was one for the cemetery that popped up in between meetings that
Between
you probably
meetings?
heard about.
Okay.
He took care of, that didn't involve general fund.
Okay,
That was the perpetual care or something.
Yeah.
Charlie, yeah.
CD,
Yeah.
he changed it to River Valley.
Yeah, that wasn't board business, but that was recent, most recent.
well, I just remember
recall.
there was a discussion about moving money. Then let's move on to this stack of warrants, it's gonna take a good 30 minutes to run through, starting with the ones with this one.
And you're gonna use the old numbers, right?
We're gonna use, well, yes, the old ones are done with old numbers, and the
Yep,
new ones
that's
are
fine.
current dates,
That's fine,
okay?
yeah.
So,
Ready?
yeah, I'm ready to go.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number
40.
Yeah.
41201
Yeah,
in the amount of $9,359.79.
is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
That's payroll.
That's payroll. Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll warrant 41201 in the amount of $9,359.79 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 41202 in the amount of $8,480.03.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll warrant 41202 in the amount of $8,480.03 signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 41203 in the amount of $7,129.06.
Sorry.
Okay.
Taxes,
You're right.
deductions?
Yes,
Yep. That's a double.
yeah, go ahead.
Second.
Is there a second? I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying warrant 41203, which is payroll withholding in the amount of $7,129.06 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
That's taxes and deductions for 4 weeks.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 41204 out of the general fund in the amount of $12,320.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? That is a property tax redemption. And that has already been paid, but that is a redemption. So, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant 41204 in the amount of $12,320 signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Rob, did you vote?
I'm going to
I did, aye?
Yeah.
Okay, the motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report 41205 out of the general fund in the amount of $2,975.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? This is the leftover social services that hadn't been paid yet for the year, calendar year, or the fiscal year. So, let's see, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant 41205 in the amount of $2,975 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Did you vote, Kyle?
Yeah, I see
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. The motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report 41206 out of the highway in the amount of $5,592.10.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying highway warrant 41206 in the amount of $5,592.10 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 41207 out of the town equipment fund in the amount of $2,447.31.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying warrant 41207 from the equipment fund in the amount of $2,447.31 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 41208 out of the town general fund in the amount of $4,502.33.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant 41208 in the amount of $4,502.33 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 41209 in the amount of $1,972.35 out of the town equipment fund.
No.
No, sorry. And that in the amount of $1,470.62 out of the town equipment fund.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? That is the bill that we've been discussing with Patriot Motors about the warranty work. And there was a $502 credit that did come down.
I see that.
So, all those in favor of paying warrant 41209 from the equipment fund in the amount of $1,470.62 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Rob, were you
Yep,
yes?
that's
Okay.
an aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 41210 out of the general fund in the amount of $1,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant 41210 in the amount of $1,000 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Did she find that or make up a new?
You got
That,
check stubs, so she found it, okay.
well, no, that's the voided check. We could not find the check stub. We could not find the original.
Okay, it's back there somewhere, but okay, that's fine.
So that's for the new check, and then that's the check stub from the void.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 41211 out of the town equipment fund in the amount of $1,353.57.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying the equipment warrant 41211 in the amount of $1,353.57 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 41212 out of the town equipment fund in the amount of $868.90.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying equipment warrant 41212 in the amount of $868.90 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 41213 out of the town general fund in the amount of $4,071.50.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying warrants, general fund warrant 41213 in the amount of $4,071.50 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Now you're going to roll over into the current warrants. So your numbering system's gonna be different.
Yep. Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 42601 out of the
That's payroll.
In the amount of $9,870.62.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying warrant 42601, which is payroll, in the amount of $9,870.62 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 42602 in the amount of $3,912.41.
Did it on that one?
30.
I did it on that one. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of paying check or warrant 42602, which is payroll withholding, in the amount of $3,912.31, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Go to the side. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Go to the side of that side. That'll work.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report 42603 out of the town general fund in the amount of $5,312.13.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant 42603 in the amount of $5,312.13 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 42604 in the amount of $950.
Is there a second?
Okay.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying highway warrant 42604 in the amount of $950 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 42605 of the highway fund in the amount of $285.45.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying highway warrant 42605 in the amount of $285.45 signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 42606 out of the general fund in the amount of $1,133.89.
Is there any discussion? Oh, excuse me, is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant 42606 in the amount of $1,133.89 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 42607 out of the general fund, amount of $84.89.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant 42607 in the amount of $84.89 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 42608 out of the equipment fund, the amount of $1,210.82.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying equipment warrant 42608 in the amount of $1,210.82 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 42609 out of the highway fund, the amount of $178.25.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying highway warrant 42609 in the amount of $178.25 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. I've never had 2 pages, so you all, just so you all know.
I was about to say, you should get your treasurer's report after you pay the warrants instead of before you.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 42610 out of the town equipment fund in the amount of $3,120.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there discussion? This is the B&B chain that we're still waiting, that Kurt referred to earlier. We're still waiting on the explanation for the differential in price. So, since we don't have that at this point in time, we don't know if that's the correct price or not. So is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the equipment warrant 42610 in the amount of $3,120 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Abstentions? I will vote negative and the motion fails.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 42611 out of the highway fund in the amount of $3,630.
Is there a second?
3,600 what? I should know this by now.
$3,630.
Ah, yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? This is the Atlantic Broom, which we just had a discussion about the street signs and the credit that we're due on the ones that were to be returned after they were taken down, and we still have not resolved that at this point in time. So anything else, discussion-wise? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying highway warrant 42611 in the amount of $3,630 signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
I keep doing that.
Abstentions? I'll vote in the negative, the motion passes. Oh, it's defeated. Blah, 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 blah. One more, and we're done. One more,
I'm on my second page.
one more.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 42612 out of the general fund, $1,200.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? This is the second payment on the gazebo repair, just for those. Okay, so all those in favor of paying general fund warrant 42612 in the amount of $1,200 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Don't ever do that again.
Me?
No, anybody, don't do that again. The amount of confusion that went into getting those bills ready was incredible. Okay, can we take a break now? I think we need to. Members of the public, we've pretty much taken care of that. What order would you like to do the correspondence in? I can take it in any order you want. Okay, fine, nobody's saying anything. Let's
There's a
do-
correspondence, I don't know what it is.
We added to it.
Well, Becky Niceman, I would prefer to do the discussion in executive with that one.
Do Board of Health.
Huh?
Board of Health. is what you got.
Well, I've got Board of Health in my hand.
Okay.
Basically, a letter, a complaint was received about a trailer on Route 35 that was addressed by Mr. Hunt. A letter was sent out notifying the owner that the trash needed to be removed. And at this point in time, there has been some movement on the cleanup. But unless it is completely cleaned up by our next meeting, which is May 10th,
I will say the 10th, yes.
then there should be follow-up action from the Board of Health for getting that remainder cleaned.
And I'll just amend that. An official complaint was lodged with Townsend's health officer.
Is that okay?
And he called me to say, didn't we do this before? And indeed, 3 years ago, we did this before. It's a situation where trash accumulates and it creates vermin and flies and all of that. Somebody complained about it. We had written a letter 3 years ago. The party responsible did do a good job of cleaning it up at that point in time. It is now accumulated again as things thaw out, get wet. There's an indication that there may be vermin, whatever. But anyway, So a letter was sent indicating that the Board of Health would be at least reviewing this letter tonight, and by May 10th or something like that, be looking for some action to get that cleaned up. It's a lot of plastic bags, it's a lot of trash that has accumulated. And indeed, in the last week or so, I'd say at least half of it is gone. So I think it'll be a moot point by your next meeting. But the Board of Health is notified by the department, the health officer, that an official complaint was received, and I just simply sent a letter out as a preemptive. So hopefully it'll be taken care of without your action.
So we'll have to.
But it'll be on the agenda for the next meeting.
To follow up on.
Right, follow up.
All right, then moving on to Andrew Royce. We received a request to replace a mailbox with an estimate of $86.26. That I guess the road crew took down. I'm not sure. Was that verified with, did anybody ever ask her? I don't know who's
I
read that
didn't ever
would
see,
be.
I got the letter on, I haven't talked to him. The letter I think came in on Friday. It was dropped off and I made copies. Yeah, it's not dated.
Could we verify the fact that they did hit the mailbox, because this is below our deductible? It doesn't make any sense to say.
I thought, yeah, and I talked to Andrea, and she indicated that she had talked, you knew about it, or you'd seen it, or maybe. Yeah, okay.
That mark of the snowplow didn't, but the wing.
The wing
got
did
it,
it.
'cause it took the top of it right off, put it way down on the lawn. Now, I don't know, it was down on the lawn, I couldn't say who did it. But there was no car or anything that hit it, because there was no car. Got tight to the mailbox where the wood been if the car hit it.
Well, I think
And that's all I can tell you that much.
I think we do need to basically ask if there's any knowledge at the highway department of this mailbox being hit. And then,
That would be out on West Hill. Right,
This is right-
right at the intersection.
20 West, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then putting it into the queue for the bills the next time around, if in fact it's verified. How's that sound with the board?
Sounds good.
Good.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to verify that in fact the snowplow clipped it, and in fact put it into the queue to be paid at the next meeting.
I make a motion to follow up, have Craig follow up with the highway garage to any knowledge of clipping the said mailbox.
Kurt called me and he told me that, well, he said, she got a bunch of sheet rock screws in. I said, I know it has, because I fixed it once when the snowplow hit it.
So you talked to Kurt
So
about it?
Kurt does know about it?
Yeah, he claimed, well, he said it went within 20 inches of the mailbox of the snowplow. Well, of course he didn't, but the wing sticks out there.
Kyle, what'd you do when your mailbox got knocked over?
And I said to him, I said, I've looked at some of the
Yeah, that's what I thought.
guardrails and stuff and see where the wing is.
I know when mine got knocked down, it got knocked down, kept getting knocked down, kept getting knocked down, and I kept getting a bigger post and a bigger post, and finally I got a big enough post where it doesn't keep getting knocked down. And I've got it lagged in there to the point where it flattens out and gets bent over before it actually comes off the post.
I know that one just above me got knocked down 2 or 3 times, so they put railroad wheels down the ground so they won't knock it over.
Okay, well, back to where we started. Do I need to verify this with Kurt, or does Kurt already know about it and you guys can act on it?
Well, that's it, if Kurt already
Well,
knows that.
this is what I'm saying. I mean, do I need to call Kurt in the morning and then put this on the warrant for the next meeting, or is this something you guys can deal with tonight? If Kurt already knows, apparently, and he's discussed it with the select board.
I'm just asking, they just leave it in my lap.
Oh, no, but you had a conversation with Kurt, so I'm saying.
Yeah, but I say it did talk,
All right, then,
but he said that they didn't hit it, so. Now you.
Okay, well, that's probably what I'm gonna hear if I call him in the morning.
okay,
No.
so it's your pleasure.
I mean, the motion is to have me call and ask Kurt if they hit it.
Motion stands, and we'll table it till next meeting. Based on what?
On the response? Okay.
Okay, so I'll talk to Kurt and see if he can verify.
All right. And then you'll make sure you've got the original, because it's just a photocopy, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So the request is for 8626. I don't know if I stated that earlier. But all those in favor of having Craig follow up by verifying with the highway department that there is a mailbox that was damaged, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Okay, I'll vote in the affirmative, the motion passes. All right. Then, let's see, let's go do that, do that one yet. So this one next. We received a memorandum from the town clerk, basically saying this is to advise that the current cleaning position has left and I will be assuming that role until such time as a replacement may be found. The other individual is no longer employed by the town, and the clerk is, I believe, doing it on Thursdays for the casual labor rate. Okay? It's just to make you all aware of the fact that that's going on.
Memo to the clerk when she makes copies, I need one. That's one.
Ah,
Just saying.
here, you can have one.
No,
Okay.
I'll take kits.
I don't think, well,
Where did it
I
go?
don't think they all got them.
Oh,
Come to think of it. I
No,
think
you were
I think she put it in just my box.
well, okay.
Okay? I'm special, just so you know.
I'm blindsided, that's okay.
She turned in keys, she had.
Yes, they managed to track the keys down, yeah.
Okay, so that's until she finds someone or.
That's what the-
Right,
that's what the
until
memo
right,
says.
Okay, yeah.
All right, then the next one I'd like to deal with is, I'd like to make note of the fact that the select board, you all have copies, I know you do, of the letter from Walter Meyer about, the lister's office and the fact that there's been a complaint filed with making the listers use the time clock. And that it appears in the general scheme of things that the listers feel, or the public at large seems to feel, that we instituted this policy just because of the listers, and I will say unequivocally, that's not the case. We, up to including the compactor attendant, uses the time clock. The town clerk, in her cleaning position, uses the time clock. The road crew uses the time clock. Anyone who is in an hourly or paid by in an hourly manner with the town, with the exception of the people who mow the grass who don't have access to the building, are being paid, are using a time clock, are clocking in now. So, Mr. Meyer, I'm not really certain where this was going, but evidently, the quote in this letter says, he, being Mr. Lucier, said that the select board had been giving the listers a hard time and wanted them to punch a time clock to keep track of their hours. And again, if anybody would like to go through those payroll warrants and look at the amount of calculations that have to be done to determine the amount of money that these individuals are paid, they're welcome to do it. Mistakes are made, and Craig and I spent many hours on the old handwritten sheets trying desperately to come up with the correct amount.
I
And
know
the
that.
time clocks have helped immensely. There's no more incorrect dates. There's no more question as to whether or not somebody was in the building because they had to be here to use the machine. It's just made life a lot simpler. So if you do see anybody or anybody approaches you about this matter, we would welcome having a discussion with anybody who feels aggrieved by the fact that they have to use the time clock. More than one.
You've alluded to it, but I think the second paragraph is the important paragraph, that a lister has said that the select board is giving listers a hard time, and implies that time clocks are a punitive sort of punishment for the listers.
It isn't, everybody.
Well, I don't know, I don't know that the select board has been giving listers a hard time, and I'm certainly sorry if there is that impression. I don't know that to be the case, but certainly the time clocks are not a punitive punishment Obviously for the listers or anyone else, it is across the board. But apparently there's ill feeling.
Evidently, because this does go on.
It does go on.
But try to read
And on,
and
and on.
decipher some of them timesheets that came in, it was almost impossible. Dates and all that stuff, were good and legible.
Like I said, I would welcome having a discussion with, when we can actually have the documentation on the table for everyone to look at and understand the complexity of what was going on and how this has been such a godsend from the ease factor and the fact that everything is uniform.
I would think that it's a pretty easy, standard type of situation where you go to work and you just punch in and you punch out when you leave. And I don't see why there's such a big deal made about it.
Like I said,
I think the big deal is elsewhere, but I don't know what the big deal is, and I think time clocks are being used to leverage that, but again.
Again, I would welcome anybody, we'll have that discussion if someone wishes to have it. Moving on to the Windham solid waste, which you were alluding to, Irv. I received a letter before our last meeting that says that under the board at Windham Regional, or Windham Solid Waste has voted to stop taking plastics number 3 through 7 in the recycling bins. They will only take now
Ones and twos.
1s and 2s, which are the milk jugs and the plastic water bottles and food containers. They're recommending that, this is funny.
They don't want plastic bags anymore?
They
Or
don't,
styrofoam.
they don't want, we're supposed to be distributing these flyers that they provided to individuals out at the dump, which we don't have a mechanism in place to really be able to do that.
We can distribute them
Arnold
when we
might
sell
well hand them
bags,
out.
but an awful lot of people recycle that don't buy bags. And
That's true.
I'm just saying, you can give them out with the bags, which
but
is
if
one way of,
The attendant, when they come in a lot of times, you could get a lot of them.
need to move
Limited
the
it.
shack to where it
Stick
can
them to the
you
shack.
can watch recycling as well, but that's another.
The thing is with this 3 through 7, there was a little bit of a market, but now there's no market. You can't even get rid of it, so the district's having to pay the price per ton.
$50,000 last year, I talked to Kristen Benoit today.
Yeah, they're gonna say that that's coming out of the assessment, so
That's-
if they,
Yeah,
if they don't wanna sort them out, then your assessment's gonna change. You're gonna be paying more, the town, different people are.
and not to blame Windham Solid Waste Management, this is all coming down from Montpelier one way or the other.
Yeah, I'm not
So they
paying,
deal with city issues and force it upon rural areas to pick up the costs.
But there is a need to get the information out to the public, and the fact that there has been a change now in what can be recycled, that all the plastics that used to be marked can no longer go in the bins.
This is a transfer station attendant's responsibility.
And quite frankly, the way this letter reads, we will be penalized by the amount of inappropriate plastics that are in our bins. So I guess they're going to keep track of how many tons of 3 through 7 plastic are in our bins, and we'll somehow be penalized for that.
We'll be charged for the tonnage.
Yeah, Craig, do you have an electronic copy of that flyer?
I do not yet. I mean, I'm sure I can get one, but we'll certainly make sure you have one for the listserv.
Send it to
Yeah,
me.
we'll send it out on the listserv.
Okay, so is there anything else from Windham Solid Waste you need to do?
not right now, other than, they formed a committee, because Baltimore's having a big fit, because they're helping pay for the trucks coming up, picking up the recyclables here, but I asked them, I said, what about the hazardous waste? You guys use a lot more than we do. Well, they didn't want to get into that discussion.
Hazardous waste pickup every 15 miles. I understand there's one person who lives 14 miles from everybody else, and they have to do a hazardous waste pickup for that one individual.
But there will be two different hazardous waste days coming up here.
There's one coming up on the 7th. There's something
We've
that's
got
on the agenda
paperwork here,
here.
something.
It's on the agenda for your signature.
Yeah, it's actually not on the agenda.
Well, I think you added it if you didn't, or should,
actually
but it's
didn't.
coming, it's on the clipboard.
I was gonna say, there's absolutely nothing on the clipboard is on the agenda.
Okay, well, we'll get to it when we get to clipboard. So,
Okay.
The clipboard stuff is the important stuff.
Add clipboard to the agenda, right? Okay. So I think that's all the actual correspondence that I have.
Let's just go back. I think that's it.
It's hard to do a month's worth of correspondence because things come and go and they're no longer relevant.
You mentioned the letter for Eagle Creek too?
That's under other business, that's actually not a
And
letter.
that was not a letter,
Baltimore, WSWD, Anita Bean, and you got it.
we did in fact, get a letter from Eagle Creek that I mentioned at the last meeting. And Craig and I did go out and meet with Eagle Creek. And there's a little flyer.
Other business, requested Bob to check on a barricade. Now, we'll put that under other business.
That was neat because I almost dropped a car in it.
Now, it's an ongoing story here, but
Oh,
we need to
cool.
follow up on that. as well.
Okay.
Okay.
So then let's move on to the old business, the Knox box key policy, which we do have. And since our newly appointed emergency management director is here, let's get his opinion to this. Do you happen to have a copy for him?
Yes, it does.
We've had this on the agenda for a while now. Several entities in town have, in fact, put Knox boxes on their buildings. The elementary school has one, the high school has two, and the hospital has one that I don't think is mounted yet. There's also an extra one here for the town hall. We did not, none of the boxes are currently being used because we did not have a policy for the key distribution. Right now, all the keys are here. So this is a policy that has kind of been in the draft form now for, oh goodness, 3 months or so.
December, first meeting was November.
And one of our discussions that we kind of had off camera is the fact that it would be best to be left in the keys in the hands of the emergency management director to decide who should hold the keys for the town. We've also, since we weren't certain we were going to have an emergency management director, we also toyed with the idea of having our duly elected constables hold the key because they also are involved with the fire department. So.
And hold may mean be responsible for distribution.
Right, not
But
actually.
we have a changing, well, I mean, all positions change with elections and all of that. But in signing out a key, somebody who loses the key, we end up replacing all the boxes. They're all keyed alike, they're very expensive to replace.
Yes.
So, in signing out a key or two keys, if that person wishes to, say, distribute it to the fire chief or law enforcement or whatever, then that person becomes responsible. It doesn't take a board of 5 people to make that decision. It just becomes, it goes where it's trusted, and then from there, it's accountable.
Right. So, I'll let you take that back and kind of take a look at it and think it through from your perspective, whether or not you want to be the one that is named as being responsible, or whether the board should in fact write language into the policy that makes the elected constable their
I would
responsibility.
be fine with that,
With the constable or with you?
with me.
Okay.
I'd be fine.
But the big thing is if we get a fire and you've got to get into a place, you can't wait for
Well,
20 minutes or half hour to get there.
Irv, I've got an idea, I've been listening to the
Yeah.
board, I've been listening to this actually as it's gone on through BCTV's production, and I have an idea on how
Okay.
we could do that.
Because we've also had the discussion about the fire department, yes, is a first response, but you also have medical first response, which the fire department, we don't have a first response team, is sometimes involved in other areas.
It's gonna be really rare, but you also have law enforcement.
Yes.
That's Potential, so.
Yeah.
So we really need to kind of think about how we want the keys to be, and if you're okay with being the person responsible for the distribution, then we'll finalize the policy to the point where you're comfortable with it, and then get these keys, get the boxes locked first of all, but get the keys distributed, and have the different entities put their master keys in.
I mean, the high school might have to be open for a fire. If nobody was around, I'm sure a window would get broken and somebody would gain access. But if you needed the high school as an emergency, as an evacuation center, because it is technically a Red Cross emergency evacuation center, we had that issue with Valley Cares evacuating, being bused down to the high school. Nobody could get in. I mean, we had to chase down somebody with a key in order to open the door. Those situations probably going to arise more often than any other where you need the evacuation. But that, and certainly the fire department would be involved in any kind of evacuation as well. But that might, it's another possibility.
Like the constable, he belongs to the fire department, so he,
Right.
you're pretty clear that he'd be there.
But that may change in 3 years.
Yeah,
or
no,
five.
that's
That may
what-
not.
that's just one thing.
Right, I mean, anything is fluid. But in order for the board to relinquish the authority of having a key in the vault, it needs to assign it to somebody and kind of be able to walk away and forget about it, because board members don't get called in emergencies that often. At least not in real time, so.
So if you have any thoughts on the policy, if you could either give them to Craig or to myself, and we can get this finally in process. Now that the administration for the high school is changing, we'll have to come up to speed. And perhaps do you know what's going on with the active shooter discussions at the high school?
There was a meeting postponed until March, end of March or.
I know, which is one.
Sorry, it went to
I went
May.
to the one in the last one.
So you don't know what's going to happen with this changeover in the administration? Are they gonna continue having those discussions? Don't know. Okay, because that's another piece of it, we've been participating with the high school in these discussions and the elementary school. So I'm not sure how much activity you want to be included in.
He's been to some of the rehearsals, I'm sure.
Good.
Tabletop
I'm sure you've been
exercises.
to those, yes.
Yeah.
But, they're in the learning process, in the learning phase right now. They're trying to decide what their actual type of response is going to be on a school-wide basis. So they've got their boxes, but
There's nothing in them.
they're not quite ready
Yeah.
to use them yet, so. We'll have to keep you informed as to what the meeting, where they are, because Doreen, the principal, I believe, is leaving, and the superintendent's leaving as of the 1st of July, which are two of the key players in those discussions, so. When you find out, would you let me know? Okay, so,
Some of the people in charge of those discussions were not the principal or the superintendent. I mean, there was a mechanism, there was a force within the system that is driving this
absolutely.
beyond the superintendent.
But they were also
They were
key-
principals in the staff.
key players, and
Oh, yeah.
anytime you deal with somebody's building, you're gonna have to get participation from the building. All right, so then moving on to the other officer appointment, Brad Horn spoke to us at okay?
Second.
Okay, he's not here, so all those in favor of appointing Brad Horn, reappointing Brad Horn to Windham Regional, signify by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed? Abstentions? Are you gonna vote aye?
I did.
Okay, motion passes. Gazebo,
Congratulations, Brad.
yeah, would you let him know, please?
Certainly let me know tonight.
Gazebo update? Unless anybody else has other officers, I come to think of, those are the only two I knew about. Did anybody find anybody for senior solutions?
We could use another Windham Regional, but Senior Solutions is the one that's really gappingly outstanding.
Yeah, that's a good attitude, training all.
Okay. Well, remember, we still have quite a few blanks on that officers list that need to be filled. It's back and back somewhere.
I'm
Okay,
making a copy for the next meeting.
yeah,
Take a look at it.
yeah.
Gazebo update, I talk to Ralph almost every day. It's coming right along. I think you were
Yeah,
out there
I talked-
on Friday morning, so I'm taking a good look at it. So
Yeah.
you probably have as current an update as I do on that Thursday.
Now we get it sewn back into place and loopholes and stuff under it. I noticed today, it was raining, but I don't know, no, I guess it was yesterday, that, he got some of them panels
Yep.
pretty well cut back.
Have we received a check yet
We have not. I will follow up.
from the insurance company?
insurance company can make it, but we're going through our insurance company to get it, but I'll follow up and see what the status on that is. There was a question with regard, from the hospital, the 5K run, you may have noticed the banner is up, is scheduled for May 5th. Is that right, Thursday? May 7th? I can't remember.
6/6/70, ain't it?
I think it's Saturday, yeah, it must be May 7th. Anyway, the gazebo construction will be completed by the time they need to use the gazebo for staging area. It should be completed, I was gonna say, it should be done this week. There may be some cosmetic work to do because a lot of it's pressure treated, it probably won't take stain until it dries out.
All the underpinning stuff is all back in place.
Oh yeah, the underpinning is fine, the fascia boards, those kinds of things will get painted white, but the lattice work, there are other things that are gonna need.
Cosmetic work is
That may wait until the weather warms and until the pressure treated lumber dries out significantly. But structurally, it'll be reopened for the public here very quickly, another couple of days, I would think.
Then on the notices, update on the notices for the 3
Talked to the lawyer today, we should have the
Bush Cottage.
lease agreement coming through very quickly. The transfer station notices will be coming through as soon as I get the letters out to the abutters. And that will just be that's not going to require a public hearing. The hospital lease should not require a public hearing. That's just a matter of publication in the paper. And the net metering group should require a publication in the paper with opportunity to petition, protest as one wants. I hope to get them all buttoned up by the end of the fiscal year, but it's winding down.
Okay.
45-day notice and all that.
Okay, so then moving on, the emergency operations plan. Well, we know it's now going to go from there to there.
Yeah, well, it's,
We know that.
Kyle took possession electronically, so I'm sure he'll be happy to relieve himself of that. There is a hard copy back there, I just
Already sent.
haven't,
Already sent.
already sent, so it's already
Already sent and been reviewed.
See?
There we are, so we can sign it tonight. I got a printer over here. So anyway, I don't need to find another, I do have copies back there that are out of date, but I know you signed one last year, just to re-up. I know there weren't any changes to it, but we did keep it current year after year, so.
All right, then, we're gonna tackle this clipboard. Well, that's the first thing that we do before we tackle the clipboard would be to, the Southern Vermont Engineering, survey contract. Is the contract on the clipboard?
Yes, it's at the very bottom, and it just needs to be ratified.
Okay. The S.V.E. Associates contract to do the work on the abutment
Right.
for the
Box
dam.
culvert.
Meets and bounds, survey.
It was a due date of March 31st, and it was signed on the 25th. We need to I'll entertain a motion to ratify the contract.
Second.
Is there any discussion on what it is or why it was done the way it was done?
Well, something that was,
We had to do
they
it.
gave us a temporary and they wanna,
Yeah, we never finished the work.
right.
So the estimated
As far as
cost,
the paperwork was never finished.
the estimated cost of doing it and contacting the Army with the appropriate information is $27.95, $2,795. Okay? So is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of ratifying the contract with S.V.E. Associates to do the meets and bounds survey on the Dam Road culvert?
Say that twice real fast.
Say that again.
Bob's road.
Signify by saying aye.
Alright.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the motion passes. That was dam spelled D-A-M, not the other one. It's the first thing that came to mind. Anyway, so that
Cement box culvert.
that place out there that's caused a lot of
I
aggravation.
should say cement axe, not a box, but it's not a box.
Okay, so then the other thing that you all missed, except for Rob got part of it, was the request for a liquor license for West Townsend Country Store. And, it's actually, that's not what they go by, they go by.
Irv was here when Kip was here, when we had that conversation about the outdoor, then Rob was here then.
The
one
West
Kathy was-
River Community Project Company,
Right.
for both their indoor and their outdoor liquor license. And they did come to the last meeting, they had two representatives here to discuss, what happens out there during the pizza nights on Fridays, I believe it is. And there was, my question was, is there some kind of physical barrier? Is it enforced? The area where the alcohol is actually
I gotta
used.
say, it has to be enforced.
And at this point in time, they assured me that there was some kind of enforcement, which then brought up the issue of, well, there's been complaints about the parking and the fact that you had people with open containers out amongst the vehicles, and the vehicles are on the road, and we're kind of walking a funny line here. They're now aware that there are questions about both the area where the alcohol should be when it's outside and about the traffic issues, so I'm hopeful that they will look into some of those situations.
They also discussed maybe hiring, maybe a deputy or law enforcement for traffic control and for keeping an eye on people not
Yeah.
wandering around down to the farmer's market with an open container of some sort. I mean, there was that, at least suggestion that was something they were thinking of. They're aware of the problem, aware of the situation or the problems, at least anecdotally, it's not.
So at this point in time, their liquor license expires as of the 1st of May if we don't sign it this evening. So I would entertain a motion to sign the, West River Community Project Company's application for an indoor and an outdoor liquor license.
So move.
Is there a second?
Set a set place for the outdoor,
Pardon?
set area for the outdoor.
Well, that's what we talked about, and they're saying that it's only allowed in a certain field by where the pizza or the brick oven is,
Right.
but there's no physical barrier that keeps people there.
And I believe in there they indicated they were gonna cordon off that area somehow with rope or with a fencing or something. They had a designated area, so many yards by so many
It
yards.
says,
That's what I mean,
And, right, there is a designated area that's particular. A question did arise about buying alcoholic beverage inside and then wandering out onto the porch or back out onto it. And they said that what was bought inside stays inside, that what they're discussing or what they planned was, this is for sales at the pizza, where they cook the pizzas, and then people will be in a corral, basically, where they may,
Because, I mean, they can.
where they may consume beverage.
If they can go inside and buy the beverage, and if they get to wandering around out through the parking lot, that's not the same as a designated area.
well, technically, they're not supposed to come from the inside out. That's what we were told.
Right, or go through the post office area, or upstairs to the thrift shop, or wander out into Route 30, that kind of thing.
It's literally described in the application as 1,200 square feet directly behind and to the left of the building in a defined area to include the brick oven. This area will be defined with physical barriers at all times, which is what I've never seen, and I've never heard of any physical
I've
barriers.
never seen any.
It says not to include any part of the parking lot, year-round use, which will be cold out there in the middle of the winter. Hours of operation from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m.
Your drink doesn't get warm now.
Noon to midnight, huh?
Don't need those.
12 a.m. to 12 p.m.
No, p.m. to a.m.
Yeah.
Noon
Noon
to
to-
Yeah,
noon to
but there won't
midnight.
be any from p.m. to a.m.
Well, it matters how.
It's midnight
It's
till,
rocking and rolling.
Now, PM is noon.
Yeah,
PM is noon, AM is midnight. So, PM to AM.
right.
But it's 12 to 12. They're not gonna-
Noon to noon. Don't confuse me. Noon to noon. Anyway, so the motion on the table is to approve the license. It's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I would just say that in reviewing the laws, the board has the authority and the responsibility to sign this because it has to come from the town governor. It does not have a responsibility to monitor the situation out there, but you have every authority to monitor the situation out there. And if there are any things that you don't like, you do have the authority to address those situations, and there's a lot of latitude in addressing those. So, while it's not your responsibility to do that, if you hear something, then you can take it to principals at West Townsend, take it to the Department of Liquor Control, you can deal with it. It is something you're signing, but it's not something that becomes indelible once you sign it. You do have
It can be suspended.
well, you do have the authority to amend it later if it gets out of hand or if there are incidents or something like that. But in discussion last week or 2 weeks ago, governing members of the organization gave every assurance that they possibly could to both Kathy and Rob in question and answer, that they were aware of the situation and had it under control or would be controlling responsibly. So.
All right, so all those in favor of approving the indoor-outdoor liquor license, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes, so all of us need to sign this. Which way do you want to go? Okay, so that takes care of the liquor license. What other sign heres do I have? I've got sign heres all over the place. Sign here, sign here, sign here. Okay, there's yours. Oh, I was just curious. I thought maybe it was a conflict for you. Oh, all right. Could it be a neighbor you can't sign? And right before that goes out, would you put it in the wrong spot, they go, hey, Jesus Christ.
You signed for the town clerk?
No, he disapproved.
Yeah,
Not gonna get free drink now.
Yeah, would you just make sure that Anita signs it before it gets.
I will hand that to Anita. In fact, I'll probably give it to Joe tonight so he can put it on her desk.
All right, then the next one would be the financial plan. Let's see, which one? No, we do this one first. We do the certification of compliance for town road and bridge standards and network inventory, which we were assured, this is the one I asked Kurt about. We were assured we're supposed to sign this.
Can you do that for Anita? Leave it on the desk tonight?
So I guess I'll entertain a motion as soon as Earth comes back to do that. We get moving around and.
What are you doing? You're compliant with the network?
Well, I don't know.
Hungry. I've got so much.
I don't know. I'm kind of stuck at the moment. Okay, so that's.
You're not leaving, are you, Bob?
My butt is shut.
Yeah, okay. You get this on chair. Is there a barricade out there that you noticed the last couple of days? No, there isn't. Okay.
Bob.
So,
What's that?
This is the Eagle Creek, it's just the flyer that they gave out. Just kind of explain what they were doing out there, and there is going to be a,
This is pretty much what they have on that,
that
display.
billboard, yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Are they cooperating now at this point?
they were very amenable
Okay.
to having discussions with the town. So
Good.
I think it's going to be a good discussion. We did find out why they've got the razor wire,
Okay.
and that's because of the electrocution potential.
High voltage.
And they're probably gonna make that ugly building look like a sugar shack or something?
No, but they're gonna fix your line, so it's not as obnoxious.
And are they gonna make it look attractive in any way? 'Cause it looks
Keep a black bear in there.
industrial now or something. What's that?
They're gonna keep a black bear inside.
I don't think it's the building itself is going to be anything, but we shouldn't be taking pot shots at it anymore.
Yeah,
Somebody-
literally.
Somebody actually took a shot at the building and went through and hit the equipment. It didn't damage anything, but they shot through it.
Yeah, it's not 22 proof.
I'm sure that building probably has a lot of very expensive equipment in it.
Unbelievable. You wouldn't believe. Look at you, you would believe.
Okay.
I was gonna say, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, you probably, you know what control stations look like.
All right, so now we need to have a motion on the certification for compliance for town road and bridge standards and network inventory. I'd entertain that motion that we pass that, we sign that.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion on it? Hearing none, all those in favor of signing the certification of compliance for town road and bridge standards and network inventory signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. And today is the 26th.
26.
All right. And then these two that seem to go with it, that I have not even had a chance to look at or read. I wish you wouldn't do this. Oops. Okay, these are the mileage figures.
No, that's highway financial.
Okay.
I do believe, isn't that?
Yes, you're right. Yes.
Financial. Yeah.
Since we, the legislative body of, probably should put Townsend in there.
Let's see if I manage to.
Certify that the funds raised by municipal taxes are equivalent to or greater than the sum of at least $300 per mile for each class 1, 2, and 3 town highway municipality.
You did
Cool.
sign it a year ago.
Cool.
No, I'm just saying,
What?
it's nothing new.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to sign such.
It just has new numbers on it, because we have a new financial plan.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of signing the annual financial plan for Townsend's Highway signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Who moved that, just so I know who to blame?
I think it was Kyle.
Okay. All right.
The motion passes.
Second, Rob. Good.
Okay, we've got these. Oh, that's for the, okay. I don't know, Kurt left us something.
They're right in front of me. I gave them to you. Grant applications for. The month before, I'm gonna go for it. Haven't looked down.
There they are. Okay, thank you. They're not,
I admitted I see that.
they're on the folder. All right, we know where they are. All right, so let's get everybody in order. There's that, there's that. The next one is the insignificant waste management event approval form for the hazardous waste collection that's scheduled to be done on June 11th,
Sounds right.
2016.
Yeah, Saturday.
At the town highway garage.
Yeah.
It really, does it say somewhere?
It is,
Yes,
it is
it does,
for June
it is.
11th, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'd entertain a motion to,
I think you just need one signature on that.
to approve the collection of hazardous waste out at the transfer station.
So,
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of signing the application form for hazardous waste day out at the compactor? signify
Is
by
it to
saying-
have the chair sign?
It
Is it
doesn't
just an
say.
It's just an authorized signature.
Applicant, event operator, generator.
That's it.
they
You want
have-
one of those?
You are.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
You gotta look at the numbers on the bottles.
the district will have people
Oh,
there.
yeah, no, Chris and Benoit will be up there, they'll have they have a different, they hire a contract hauler,
But
that actually does
Opposed,
the collection.
abstentions, the motion passes.
Good, I already did that.
You are just seriously being a pain tonight.
Just fill up all your
There may
number
be-
bottles with
I'm gonna-
gasoline and get rid of it.
Later in the year, there'll be one, but I believe that one they won't. I think either 2 or 3 this year they have to have. And this one here will be in Townshend, and I don't know how the next one might be, but I think the third one, if there is a third one, which you have to have, will be at the district in Brattleboro. In other words, you can go,
Yep.
as long as you can prove you're from Townshend or
Yeah.
Newfane or whatever town's in the district, you can get in to get rid of your hazardous waste.
Okay, so this is a Vermont Better Roads Grant Program application. Now, I'm not sure what it is. Okay,
I
this
have
is
not
a.
seen it.
I haven't either.
Okay, I'm just,
How do you plan to meet the 20% grant match on this grant? We plan on using the road permits, time, and transportation of the town's manager, as well as Windham Regional staff. This should meet or exceed the 20%. Okay, the requested grant amount is $8,000. The estimated total project cost, including the 20%. Okay, I'm a little confused. The requested grant amount is $8,000.
all right,
The estimated total project cost,
would be plus 20% plus.
including 20%, is $2,000.
Makes no sense.
If you're asking for 8, you need to add the 20. All right, never mind. I haven't, it's due tomorrow morning. It's actually due on April 15th. He extended it to tomorrow, so you could sign it tonight. Just saying. What's it for?
This one is road inventory and capital budget planning project.
Just sign these papers that we got.
Well, here we've got the grand total being $10,069.30. The match amount being $2,069.30.
8,000 from better, that'd be,
So this is actually what he's filled in. It still isn't 20% of the 8,000. Be 20% of 10 though.
yeah, but you put these two together, you
Yeah,
come up
10.
with 8,000 grant and 2,000 in fine services.
Yeah, but the estimated project total should be $10,000, not
Yeah, right, not
$2,000.
2,000. Unless it's, you must have.
How would you like me?
With this math.
How would you like me to handle this? That's the other one. That's the other one.
Yeah,
Would you like a bottle of white out?
I could. Yeah, I can white out the 2 and write in 10.
Just saying.
Is it, we gonna fax it?
Kurt's gonna scan it tomorrow, isn't he? It has to be scanned in. I mean, we're right up against that kind of deadline, apparently.
Well, then give me a bottle of white out because this isn't right.
Well, that would be the clerk's office and the clerk's desk.
You've
Oh, it is?
got
Yeah.
white tape.
She's got new bottles of white. Are you sure? I mean, I don't know, I haven't looked at it, but
I'm gonna say, this one don't even look right either.
would you like me to make copies? This is a test. This is all a test.
What's the grant amount? Yeah, so he's asking for 8,228.
Just take and start adding zeros.
No copy.
Well, this one, according to what he's got here, is right. This one's right, according to his spreadsheet. He's got a grand total of 14,565, which is right there, in the correct line with the 20% match. And then that's not the match though, dear. The match is the. This one isn't correct either. This isn't correct. So, this I'll get signed. All right, I'm not sure what to do with those. Then we're just gonna move on until we figure that out.
Okay.
The loan equipment financing, one of the one of the issues that has been brought to my attention is that of the balances due on the trucks that we still financed. And the total owed, that will be owed as of July 1st is $37,320. And we currently have in a reserve account for equipment a total of $29,715.16. So basically, for less than $8,000, we can pay off all the trucks and have absolutely no, all of them, including the new truck. And it's just one of those ways to maybe save a little bit of time and aggravation at tax time for not having to hit the
That
roads.
includes the new truck too.
That includes them. At least, I'm pretty sure it does it not, Craig?
I'm sorry?
That's it's T3, right?
There's a spread there, T3 and T,
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Three's the new one, right?
On the
three's a new one.
on the total balance due, the
Right.
37,320 is the total for all vehicles.
For all vehicles, because we only borrowed 40,000 on T3, we raised 90 in taxes. And we were expecting 32 in exchange for the Sterling, which we didn't sell, so the taxpayer kicked in the extra 32. But we only have 40 to pay on that. Actually, I think we paid more for the Ford. But anyway, yeah, 37 is the entire amount.
And we already have 29,700 set aside.
Yeah.
So it's something we can either deal with now, or we can consider, if we can remember, come June, that we want to go ahead and take care of this before we close out the year.
We've just had that equipment fund sitting there for the last 7 or 8 or 9 years without movement or adding or subtracting from it. We should do something with
That's
it.
fine, but I'd rather get closer to the end of the year before we do it myself.
Do you want to wait till like the second meeting in May or
Say
June?
the last of May or first of June.
Okay, can we need to put it somewhere where we remember. So Craig,
Yeah.
can we make a memo for an agenda in the latter part of May maybe?
Yeah.
To bring this forward again so we can
I
actually
can
see,
do
have a rough idea where we are financially?
I was gonna say, that'll give us an idea where this year's budget stands.
Okay, I gave copy to Kyle.
What are we giving you?
Well, it might be all right now, but if you jump into it, then you come up shortfall.
I probably got the
Alright.
pages out of order, those are in the correct order, but I don't. It's like 17 pages.
This must be the original. Oh, that's the second, it's the second. What did we just do?
Oh, we just made copies of the originals, so if you white
These are
out.
the originals.
No, those are the originals, I have copies of those, so whatever you do now, at least there's a backup.
I don't think we're gonna do anything because neither one of these are right. So if we can get somebody in here tomorrow morning, there's going to be a tax auction.
Agenda, truck loan. Last meeting in May, end of May, yeah, 24th.
I had 11, 16.
Oh, that's not right. This is it, Memphis, okay.
I probably have pages screwed up on it, I'm sorry if I do.
Anyway, back to the question. Can we get Kurt in here first thing tomorrow morning and get some clarification on these numbers? Because you can't request $8,000 and then include a 20% match and come to a grand total of $2,000. It doesn't work.
You can.
No, you can't. And then,
Maybe you can, but it ain't right.
and then on the second category, you can't have a requested grant amount of $8,200 and then an estimated total project cost with the 20% grant of 14, when in fact you can ask for 40. So I'm not really certain, because he's got the match listed on the spreadsheet. The grand total is 14,500. The match is listed at 822, but according to what's written here, that's the grant amount, not the match amount.
You keep looking at me as if
Can we get,
Kurt in
Yeah.
here, we can certainly give him a call and on his pager or on to the answering machine at the town garage, or I can stop on my way in, but he may be out checking roads.
we have to do it, if it's that adamant about getting them in the mail tomorrow, we have to have it fixed tomorrow.
Who's the we we're talking about?
And we're gonna do the royal we again, all right?
Well, I'm just saying.
Anyway, so if we could get these numbers, grant applications to have real numbers, I don't know how to even do this to get approval. Because the numbers aren't real, or they're not right.
Well, I'm not certain you can pass a motion to submit grant applications.
Without dollar amounts?
Correct it.
Well, you may or may not get the grants anyway, depending. I mean, it's an award thing. It's a 20% match grant, which is okay. The amount is not prohibitive.
Right.
40,000 is the biggest number in there, depending on what adds up to what.
Well,
So you're not looking at a huge amount of money. I would say that you can entertain a motion to submit grant applications for better back roads or whatever they are, subject to Kurt
Corrections.
with the treasurer sitting down and doing a little tutorial. Well, I mean, subject to making sure that they're correctly enumerated, figured out. I don't look at them. I don't know what they are. Sorry to say.
But again, okay. Do we want to just let this one fly and let the grants be submitted? We want a general,
Get the correct figures and then you can sign it. I make the motion, Kathy be able to sign it if we have the correct figures.
Yeah,
So moved.
Second. To authorize chair.
Yes, I just got
As
that.
soon as she gets it correct.
since I get it corrected.
Because like that last one, $14,000, 20% would be $2,800.
Yeah. Like I said,
Okay, signing
I
the
think
grant.
he's just got I think he's got them in the wrong lines is what it amounts to. But, okay, so that was motion seconded, so all those in favor of having the chair sign the corrected applications, there were two, and they're both the Vermont Better Roads grants. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Who seconded?
Abstentions? Motion passes. So we will contact him first thing in the morning and try to get real numbers. Okay, so that took care of the clipboard. Bartlett tree. We received information, I don't have the second page.
Magic.
We received information from Bartlett, a potential
That's a two-part.
contract to do some work on the trees on the common. The first would be soil care and fertilization in July of this year for an amount of $610. And then the second part of the application, or second part of the contract would be to put phosphate on the new tree that they planted last year, right by the elementary school, and the two sugar maples that are located right near it, because those get really hammered with foot traffic, with car traffic, with salt, with you name it. So their recommendation is that they be fed initially in July, $610, and then those trees have special treatment for another $200.
I will just say that the fertilizer's been standard amount for as long as I can remember, pushing 10 years anyway, it's $600 a year, $610. And the fertilizing is probably due and necessary. That new little maple tree at the bottom of the stairs of the elementary school was planted as an honorary to Bill Eckhart.
Right.
And Bartlett Tree paid for that. That tree was staked. In the last couple of weeks, the stakes had been pulled out of the ground and wrapped around the tree. I mean, it was triangulated stakes to keep it in there. And I don't know who, but those stakes need to be replaced. I didn't replace them. I just drove by and I noticed them out of the ground. I shook my head. But that tree is pretty fragile. It's only a 7-8
Couldn't
year
go to
old
play
tree.
at school with them stakes are in there for a purpose. And
I don't know if it was little kids or not, but I got to
No, but I say,
right.
so that the school knows about it.
Right, but they can't be hanging on the tree or swinging around it or whatever else. But in any event, we need to get those stakes replaced. But But I just wanted to bring that up, but
I move to approve the contract with Bartlett for the,
this should be payable after July 1 though.
Right.
We have it in the
After
budget
July
for,
1,
right,
right.
we have it in the budget for next year, not this year.
not till after July 1st, the amount of, total amount, one amount $610 and the 200 to the special treatment.
Is there a second? Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the Bartlett tree care contract for the commons signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes. So are you going to go ahead and send it in, just, how are you going to deal with it, Craig? You want me to date it now is what I meant?
Yeah, once you date it down, I'll just attach a note that, because they schedule, and they always schedule this for after July 1st.
They're gonna say they
They're
got-
aware of our fiscal year situation, but I will attach a note
They got
to Jeremy.
estimated time 7/7.
Yeah, I'll attach a note to Jeremy, this will be payable.
Just
and if
circle
you want
it
to
so we
sign
make
that,
sure
that's our
that-
copy. It's the same thing, but we get to keep a copy that's,
Do you want it signed?
sure, why not?
Just circle the date so that it's not before.
Yeah. No, I'll just let them know that it's in next year's budget, and we
Yeah.
appreciate their sending it through.
Yeah.
Try to do it as early as possible in July before the drought hits.
Okay, and then, all right, I'm done signing. What we talked about shortly with Bob, I don't know where my little card went for Eagle Creek. It was going somewhere. Did it put away? Anyway, Craig and I did meet with several representatives of Eagle Creek. They took us on a tour of the little shed, explained what was going to happen, or what was going on down at the dam. And they are very open to having discussions with the town. If we have any questions about what's going on out there, they're more than willing to come and speak to us. We have contact information for both individuals, as I recall, both engineers.
Both engineers and
And
manager.
the local.
Yeah.
The manager is actually a local person who lives out on, right
Barbara.
behind the dam.
He lives on Barber Road, just past Bob. Colbert. C-O-E-R-T.
So I don't think there's gonna be any difficulty with, not having a good neighbor, so to speak. I think they're gonna be very receptive to having discussions and making sure that things are done correctly. So if there's any other business,
There is with that. In driving out there, Kathy took her brand new car.
Did you get mileage?
I didn't put in for it.
I documented it for her in case she ever does claim, I can verify. In driving out there, you're aware of the pull-off along Route 30 there by the ledges. There's the pull-off, the scenic overlook. There were a couple of trucks parked on the overlook side by the dam, by the new building there, Eagle Creek's building. There is a guardrail along Route 30 on the coming south side. On the other side of that guardrail, in that parking area, there is a 3 to 4 foot deep trench with a culvert and a head wall at that culvert. But it is not barricaded, it is not marked. Because the trucks for the construction people the engineers we were going to see, were parked along the fence that overlooks the dam, she pulled right along the guardrail and almost drove down into that ditch.
That ditch has been there ever since.
I understand. So on the heels of that and coming back, realizing that if somebody pulled off in a hurry with a bad tire or whatever, late at night, headlights up in the air kind of thing, so you could go in there. I called District 2, talked to Pamela, asked her if she would send somebody out ASAP, because there is an open trench there. If somebody drives into it, it's not just going to be an airbag going off, it's going to be suspension and a rescue call. I mean, it's deep enough to do some serious damage. In the week and a half that call has been made, nobody's going out there to do anything. Wondering if maybe you could talk to Chad, or if you go by, take a look at it. Because there should be a Jersey barricade there, or the guardrail should turn around, or a sign, or something.
It's been there ever since that parking lot was put in.
I understand that, but nonetheless, it is now nerve-wracking to the chair of the board that there's an open ditch out there. We're aware of it, government is aware of it. You're sitting here talking, we're talking about it.
That was since 1961 or 2 it's been there.
Well, just because nobody's driven into it doesn't mean that there isn't a hazard on the ground.
And state just did that road
And it's-
job.
right, it's-
They did have it filled in for a while, But they had to change the traffic, but they had to dig it back out.
And it's not town territory, it's in the state right of way. But we apparently don't have, or I don't have, much influence over the state, at least not by going through a reception at District 2.
I'll see Chad and talk to him and see.
Yeah, even if you put up a couple of cones that somebody isn't gonna steal.
Well, there again, the situation with people parking, that's an overlook area. There are parked vehicles there. And if they're parked along the overlook side, anybody coming in, going
From
north,
going
you're
north.
gonna hug that right guardrail. And if you hug that right guardrail, you're gonna have your front end in a hole.
You're gonna lose the car. I mean, it is literally that deep. It's pushing 3 feet plus. Right at the head wall for that culvert.
Now,
It's
that I
under
would have charged the town for. If I would have, the mileage you could get away with, if I had wrecked that car, you would have gotten the bill.
Yeah, but
Just so you know.
I'd have gone through the windshield, so.
Charge the state. State holiday or?
Alright.
And you gotta say, if like that meeting I went to in Greenfield, good luck for you.
Well, anyway, that's other business, but anyway, it's not town's jurisdiction. I mean, I can't ask Kirk to take a Jersey barrier out there and set it in. It's not the town's.
We have no jurisdiction.
Right, but it is something that I would think that somebody at V-Trans would recognize as being a potential liability for them.
Well, if you're encouraging people to pull off the road, you wanna make sure it's safe for them to pull off the road.
Yeah.
I mean,
I-
that's.
I'm not arguing. I did what I could. Anyway,
Okay.
yeah.
So anyway, then the other issue we have is, some information from Becky Nystrom. And I would entertain a motion to move into executive session under 1 VSA section 313A2 to discuss securing a real estate purchase.
So move.
Is there a second? Did you second? Okay. All those in favor of moving into executive session signify by saying aye.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Okay, what?
One VSA
313A2.
A2. Let's make it
I don't think so. I will change them in. So we're back in session at 8:25.
Back at 8:25, and as a result,
As a result, somebody needs to make a motion.
this is with Becky.
Did I put numbers in there?
No.
For the town to purchase at tax sale, a parcel of property, number, whatever, if a successful bidder, right, if a successful bidder does.
It's a no-show.
Yeah, because we don't have there's the parcel number.
And is that you, Kyle?
Yes.
Yeah, you made
Yes,
it.
okay, thanks.
It's parcel number 040740000.
0407400.
Dash 000.
Town purchase. at tax sale.
Okay, is there a second for that?
And to authorize the chair to make that purchase.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of instructing the chair to purchase the aforementioned parcel at tax sale tomorrow if there is not a successful bidder out from outside of the town representation. Is that right? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? I guess the motion passes. I'm excited, can't you tell?
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Bought a piece of
I
property.
did, I just bought a house.
Congratulations on getting out from under. Yeah, it's premature. Okay.
All right, so is there any other business? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to move, to move. See, I bought a house.
To go
I'm
out and
gonna
drink.
move now.
To go out and celebrate.
Really stepping it up.
I am. Okay, to adjourn at 8:26.
Okay.
All those in favor? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.